Well, it looks like March has quite a few tasty books being released in it. Let's go check it out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video I want to share 6 titles that are being released here in March 2024 that I'm pretty excited for. We've got 3 history-ish ones and 3 nature-ish ones, so pretty good balance there. But before we get into it, I just want to do one little thing of housekeeping and just want to say thank you for 4,000 subscribers. It was kind of cool, waking up to that. Just feel like we're doing really good, all of us, during my return here over the past month and stuff. So definitely we'll try to keep up the momentum, and I'll try not to abandon everyone like I usually do after a couple of months and stuff. So anyways, I am going to be doing a Q&A at some point to celebrate. If you have some questions that you'd like me to answer in the video and stuff, just leave some comments down below. I'll probably kind of announce that in the next couple of videos, and once I get enough questions, we'll go ahead and do it. But now let's just get started with the books. Alright, I had to write them down because all 6 of the books have these... That's the thing with nonfiction, is every single book has a sentence for a subtitle. But let's just go ahead and get started with some of the nature ones. Alright, so first up, we got 12 Trees, The Deep Roots of Our Future by Daniel Lewis. And I am a sucker for tree books. I got 10 over there. I remember reading, Evergreen, The Tree Line, a lot of Peter Wollobin's books, The Story of Trees and stuff. Anyways, I got a lot of books on trees, so when I saw that one, I was like, I gotta add that to the list. And what this book does is he profiles 12 different species of trees, as you could probably tell from the title. Bristlecone pine is one, olive trees, apparently I think an extinct tree from Easter Island. Got a whole bunch of stuff kind of going on. I think he kind of goes into, I don't know if it's just kind of the lore and life stories of these different trees, but it seems like a lot of the thrust of the book is kind of on their conservation and what's kind of happening to them. There are quite a few trees that are not dealing well with climate change, They obviously can't move quite as fast as animals can, only through seed dispersal and whatnot. But apparently he profiles 12 different species of trees and kind of shows I think their different kind of mechanisms on how they're able to cope with kind of climate change and what's going on, or how they're not sort of adapting, and maybe what we can do to kind of help them out. So anyways, like I said, added that to my tree collection. I'll have to see if I can do a video just on all the tree books that I've read. Alright, next up we got Kingdom of Play. What ball-bouncing octopuses, belly-flopping monkeys, and mud-slinging elephants reveal about life itself, by David Toomey. And that is why I have to write this down, because that is a mouthful of a subtitle. When I saw this one, I was like, this is just a really cool niche kind of nature animal type of book. I really like the ones that kind of focus in on something real specific. For example, there's another one that I saw at a bookstore the other day. I didn't end up picking it up, but I probably should at some point. And it was Nursery Earth, and it was all about infant animals or baby animals and stuff. And, just a whole book on that topic is just really cool. And like I said, this one is definitely kind of right up my alley. The last book I read that was super niche that I thought was going to be really good was Sweet and Tooth and Claw, about kind of symbiosis of animal cooperation in the animal world, and it was kind of misleading, so I'm hoping this one kind of rectifies that when I get to it. And a lot of times when you're reading a lot of nature books and science books, you'll start hearing the argument about anthropomorphizing, how scientists shouldn't be doing that, and play isn't real and fun's not real for animals and stuff, and the hardcore scientists will word it as these behaviors are adaptive strategies for practicing survival and hunting skills or whatever for later in life and stuff. But as someone who spent a lot of time outdoors, when you actually see crows and ravens and stuff just goofing around in snow and stuff, they're playing. They're just messing around. I don't know. I just feel deep down we all kind of know they are just playing or playing some kind of game or doing something. I get maybe fun might not even really be the right word per se, but it's not necessarily a survival thing kind of going on. So I'm hoping this book kind of enlightens that whole, I guess, window on animal life, because I just don't know too much about it. And like I said, anytime I ever read about it, it's just people hemming and hawing over, should we count this as this or that, and just trying to word it in scientific jargon and whatnot to get around it. And let's see, one more nature book, or I guess this one's more of like a conservation book. It's Before It's Gone: Stories from the Front Lines of Climate Change in Small Town America by Jonathan Vigliotti. And this is a journalist who who has traveled across a bunch of different like rural areas of the United States and kind of detailing and recording, I guess, different like traditions or different difficulties that different communities are encountering, or that, traditions that they've lost because of climate change, changing conditions, whether that's like through wildlife. I'm sure things like coastal erosion is probably going to be brought up, different fisheries that are, deteriorated or they've moved on, things like that. I live in a really, 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 really rural area. You cannot like overstate how rural of a place that I live is in. Just as an example, we don't have a gas station. Okay, we have half a post office. That's literally the only entity like in my town, I guess. So no, I guess there is a town office that's like open like 12 hours a week or something like that. But anyways, I really enjoy reading about rural life and stuff, just because that's the way I guess I live and stuff, and I do have a soft spot for it. But just for example, I really want to pick up this book because dealing sort of with climate change and that sort of thing. For example, right now, as of like, what is it, March 3rd that I'm recording this, we have almost no snowpack on the ground where I live. Normally, most years, we're like happy if we can get most of it melted like halfway through April. Okay, so it's like we got like, like maybe like a quarter of an inch left, or like just kind of like where it piles up in the shade and stuff. Out of the last 3 Christmases, we've had 2 green Christmases out of 3. And those are the only 2 I've ever seen in my life. And talking to like the old heads and stuff, that's only happened like maybe once that they can remember, and 2 out of the past 3 have. And also a kind of local, somewhat local dog sledding race was canceled last week because there's just like not enough snow on the ground, and I'm pretty sure that's the first time that's ever been canceled due to like climate sort of related aspects. So yeah, like I said, this book just like sounds like it fits like my area to a T. Right, I'm not sure like we have enough like going on to be included in something like this book, but like I said, just kind of the whole idea of the concept of the book just really appealed to me because of that. So yeah, I know that was like a super long tangent of woe is me and my little poor community. But anyways, before we go on to the more history books, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Like I said, everyone's been a lot more comments, likes, and subscribers and stuff, so that's awesome. Thank you so much. Don't forget to do that for this video too as well. But if you really want to support the channel, the best way to do it is to check out my Etsy shop, where I sell things like this on it. Even just liking items and favoriting the shop definitely helps a ton in the Etsy algorithm and stuff. But anyways, let's just go on to the history books, and this one is kind of like history tangent, I guess. We got, let's see, The Ancient Art of Thinking for Yourself: The Power of Rhetoric in Polarized Times by Robin Reams. And this is written by like I guess a professor of rhetoric. I feel like we're like in the sophists of like ancient Greece or something. But apparently he's like an actual like professor of speaking and like rhetorical studies and stuff. But what I like about this book is he takes a lot of anecdotes from the past, just from like little blurb I read, like Alcibiades during the Peloponnesian War and stuff. I'm sure like the Greek sophists and some Romans and more modern people. I think it was what were the 2, Alcibiades and Alex Jones, for like a modern like contemporary. And it's sort of pointing out different ways, I guess, people in the media, or these rhetoricians try to like manipulate people into thinking certain ways based on the way they talk, and like kind of present themselves and present like, I guess, like the topics at hand and stuff. So this book is all about, instead of teaching you what to think, it's teaching you how to think about what you hear and what you see and stuff. And I think that's really important for this day and age. Like I said, just people getting brainwashed left and right by pretty much anything. So I just thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of read a book on modern modern stuff, but using a lot of anecdotes from the past, just like all the history reading and stuff. So I thought that was kind of pretty cool. And it's supposed to have a lot of humor in it as well, which definitely never hurts. All right, this one sounds really cool. The next one, we've got To the Ends of the Earth, How Ancient Explorers, Scientists, and Traders Connected the World. And this is by Raymond Schultz. And like I said, I don't actually know anything about this book. I've never heard of the author. But, a whole book on just like explorers and scientists in the ancient world just really appeals to me. I read part of another book down in here called The Ancient Explorers, which I'm hoping, oh my gosh, you'd think I would have picked that out before. Maybe I'm lying. I'm pretty sure I have it. Oh, right there. There we go. One of these Pelican classics, which you probably heard of a lot of the Penguin classics. They had like a nonfiction series back in like I think the 60s and 70s. Anyways, the Ancient Explorers there. And this is all about, or I assume this book is going to be all about people like Pythias the Greek. Here, if I actually find that real fast in my... Wow, I'm not doing good at all. By Barry Cunliffe, we got The Extraordinary Voyage of Pythias here. And he was a Greek from Massalia, which would be Marseille, France today, who traveled all over Europe and probably into Iceland and stuff, back in like the 5th century BC or something like that. But you also have people like Hanno the Navigator, who also in like the 5th century was an explorer from Carthage who went over the west coast of Africa and stuff, which is pretty crazy for like that day and age. I want to learn more about the scientist aspect as well. I just haven't read a whole lot of books on like ancient Greco-Roman or Near Eastern scientists, so I think it'll just kind of fill a gap in my knowledge. And like I said, I kind of have like a soft spot for like explorers and stuff as well. So anyways, like I said, it was just kind of like up my alley and kind of really interested to see what that one's all about. And lastly, we have one more. We got, there was a readathon, another readathon from March that I missed called Her Storyathon, which is all about women throughout history and stuff. And I felt like this one would be really good to fit that for that readathon. It's Women of Power, Formidable Females of the Medieval World by Teresa Cole. And there's actually quite a few medieval figures, or women figures that did a whole lot. Like one of my I think it was a year or two ago, I was recommended to read about Matilda, who was a queen of England, and then became like empress over in the European mainland here for a while. And then she tried to reclaim the throne of England for like in her own name, but wasn't able to. I think it was Stephen that kind of like just jumped the gun on her. But anyways, she's got to be like one of my favorite like medieval characters. Just like literally like commanding armies essentially and coming up with like strategies and whatnot. Just really, really cool. But anyways, like I said, this book is going to be all about people like her in the medieval world. There's also that queen, there's a queen of Jerusalem, but her name is, I'm drawing a blank, but there's also, like Eleanor of Aquitaine. So like I said, just a whole bunch, Joan of Arc. A lot of different females that have done actually quite a bit in the medieval world. And like I said, there's a couple other books. There's She-Wolves by Helen Castor. And I think there's a couple others. I'm trying to think. I have a couple other on like the ancient world. I'm not sure if I have any on the medieval world. But like I said, I feel like this book would fit the Her Storyathon reading event really well. And maybe if I see it, I might pick that one up as well. So let me know what you think of any of these books as, my cats just decide to beat each other up right outside of the camera. But anyways, let me know if you know of any upcoming releases that you are interested in. Leave some comments down below. I'm always on the lookout for, cool releases in history and science and nonfiction and whatnot. But whether you're reading a book coming out this March or not, always remember, read victoriously.